Having some major technical difficulties if you can see me on that end. I can't pull up anything on my end, so it's difficult to tell what's going on. If you could just leave a comment if you could hear me, that'd be beneficial on my end. There we go. I have nothing on my end, but if you're there, thank you for joining me. If you can hear me, I really appreciate the show. Uh, got a 14-0 game right now in Tampa Bay versus Seattle. It's been all Tampa Bay in this one. A little bit different than what I anticipated. But Tom Brady called out his teammates, and it seemed to have worked. So, with that being said, it's a one-sided game right now. It seems like most of the non-traditional time slots are a little bit more difficult for teams to do well on. So, you know, some teams travel well, some teams don't. Preparation, routine, stuff like that's pretty big for certain people. I just want to say that we did have pretty much who we thought would be going in this game is doing well. There are some games we want to highlight, of course. We'll get right to them. Seattle at Tampa Bay, as you know, then the normal time slot we have Minnesota at Buffalo. Looks like Josh Allen's going to play in that one. We got Detroit at Chicago, Denver at Tennessee, Jacksonville at Kansas City, Cleveland at Miami. Could be a pretty high scoring game. Um, and then let's see here. Houston at New York Giants. That's also a normal time slot. And then New Orleans at Pittsburgh, kind of one of those games you don't really know what to anticipate. Don't know who's going to control the ball. Don't know if there's going to be offense. Don't know if there's going to be defense. It's just kind of one of those interesting ones to see how it'll pan out. Um, also, then we move into the afternoon games. Colts at Raiders, Dallas at having all kinds of trouble here on this morning. That's a lot better. I think I maybe should be able to see me there. I'm sorry about all the technical difficulties. I didn't anticipate having those today. If you're joining us now or joining us later, this is the 350th episode. Probably should have been making a bigger deal about that, but we are here. We're talking football. Um, Buccaneers, Seattle. Seattle's got their best drive of the game. Good time to have it, being down 14-0. See if they can execute coming out of the halftime. Whoop, Tyler Lockett, 2 first downs in a row. So that's a beautiful thing. A lot of games today. I just read them, so I don't know what was all picked up and what wasn't. Some interesting games I think that are going to be really close. New Orleans at Pittsburgh, Indianapolis at Las Vegas, Arizona at Los Angeles Rams, Denver at Tennessee. Some games that I think have potential blowouts in them. Kansas City at Jacksonville, Cleveland, or wait, Jacksonville at Kansas City, Cleveland at Miami, Dallas at Green Bay, Houston at New York Giants, and then Chargers at 49ers. I think that there's a potential for a team to be in there and just really rock it out, kind of win it all. So, with that being said, um, you know, uh, some players I like in some of those games. Detroit at Chicago, we got Swift, we got Jamal Williams, we got Goff, we got Amon St. Brown, and then Anzalone. I think he's going to do pretty well. Then we got Fields, Mooney, Herbert, and Harry, Keneal Harry, kind of a surprise one pick. I think some people could be um, sitting low on. I think there's some development there. Everybody's kind of on the Claypool, uh, you know, train, so to speak, and that's totally cool. But I think Harry can have potentially he's a big wide receiver from a first round pick himself. So take a look at that as well. Cleveland at Miami, potential games I like. I think Nick Chubb's going to have a good game. Amari Hurst, not Hurst, Hunt, excuse me, and Brissett. I think Brissett's playable. Deion Jones, linebacker for the Cleveland Browns. I also think that he has great potential to have a great game. I'm not sure if there's a lot of injuries to the linebacker position, so we just got to take a look at that as well. But I think all those have potential for good fantasy games. 39 right now. Motion to a tight trips. Got one in the right, single back to the left. They just bring 3 down linemen. They pull out in a zone. Oh, man, he threw to DK Metcalf. No penalty, nothing on the catch. Didn't try to, looks like it was a back shoulder throw, and they just didn't execute it too well. DK gets a pretty good release. A little bit of holding. I think that's a good call and letting them play. And bad throw. I mean, it's on the opposite side. So, for whatever it's worth, that's where they're sitting. 40-yard field goal attempt coming up now. Back to that game of Cleveland at Miami, I think could be very good for fantasy DFS purposes. We got Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle. All right, Jalen Waddle, Mostert, Tua, Holland, and Chubb. All right, joining us for this week, we got somebody joining us right now, and his name is Brett, also in the Fantasy Football Sevens League, so let's give him a big round of applause. What's up, man? Can you hear me?
How's it going, Iggy? I can. Can you hear me?
Doing great, man. Loud and clear. Happy Sunday, man. Hope you're having a good day. How's everything going on the other side of the state?
Oh, it's going well. I just got back from a walk with the pup. Life is good. The game isn't going so great for me right now. Lavonte David is 0. I'm not sure what's going on, if he's even on the field, but
No, he is. It's interesting. He's like, he had a tackle that got taken away, and then he almost got a sack, but Geno got rid of it. So he's had some potential close points. I was watching him as well because I thought he would play better. He was a name I mentioned this week. I was like, I think Lavonte David has potential to have a good week, and he just hasn't showed up yet.
He had a kick block taken away from him last week too. Like 10 points disappeared. Like,
yeah, that's a big play in fantasy football sevens, man. So let's see if I can pull up your team, man. We're going to talk about that real quick. You are in the Robin Williams League, correct? And you're in a pretty tough division. Pull up the game. Let's talk about your division real quick. You're in there in the Genie division with Bill Schuster, Fernando Timbo. They made the playoffs last year. Brett, you're in there. And then big guys, shout out to my man Bob Lung, who throws on the Fantasy Football Expo. Quite a great fantasy football mind himself. So no slacking. You're back in conference play this week in the game of the week against 2 of me, 2 of you. He's sitting at 6-3. You're sitting at 4-5. So there's going to be some pretty close matchups here. Let's talk about your team and his team real quick. I'll run through his team, then we'll go to your team, and we can kind of break it down for us, all right? So he's got Patrick Mahomes, Warren in at running back for Pittsburgh, Chase Edmonds from Denver in at running back, and then he's got Cooper Kupp, George Pickens, Kelsey, Tua Tagovailoa in the Superflex, Deion Jones, we just talked about, could have a good game, Jalen Phillips, he's having pretty good games himself, Davis in the middle for Washington, then he's got Gay, the kicker for the Rams, Pittsburgh defense in Nick Bosa, Eric Kendricks, and Petrie, the DB, rocking as the rookie for the Houston Texans. Switching over to your lineup, man, we got over here Russell Wilson, Derrick Henry, Chuba Hubbard was already played. He got 1.4. Hollins, who I went and scooped up as well, in your wide receiver slot. Mooney, you got Connor in the flex. You got Colt McCoy for a double down right there in the super flex. Lavonte David, he's got 0.75 points now. He's got 1 tackle. Kirksey, Demario Davis, Marr, the kicker for the Cowboys. And then we have Tennessee defense. Daniela Hunter, Jordan Brooks is in 9.75, not bad. And Neal in as well for the Seattle Seahawks 3.0. Go ahead, man. Let's talk about your season. Let's talk about your team.
So my quarterbacks have been a problem all year. Drafting 9th in a 16-team league, I got Russell, who I was excited about, but he's been absolutely putrid. And I had Matt Ryan, who got bent, so I picked up Ellinger, but I mean, more often than not, my quarterback combined to lose me points than get me anything positive, so it's definitely a problem. But Henry's been carrying me. I had one unlucky loss. I've had a couple, I guess. Who doesn't? But Monday night, Chubb went off on me to get the victory for the other team. So in that week, I relied on the Jets receivers against New England, thinking that they were going to have their big game, and they got me like 1 point combined. Stunk. But, you know, the quarterbacks have really killed me, and defense, I've had two different defenses drop 60+ points on me this year, which definitely hurts. So this week I decided to use a waiver to pick up the Tennessee Titan defense to counteract however bad Russell is this week.
No, I know he is bad. I mean, I have him as well. I have him started in more than one league. So I'm hoping the bye week they looked at some film, make some kind of adjustments. It's just necessary at this point. We got to do it.
Hopefully, that's why I'm kind of relying. Part of me is like maybe I should pick up the Giants defense to kind of not kind of go against myself, but I don't know. If Russell is a really bad game, at least I'll get a good game from my defense. If Russell is a good game, my defense won't do as well, but you know what? I can live with it. So I think I just want to make sure I get one productive outing from someone.
And it's brutal. That's one thing I'll take a look at next year is possibly taking the sack points away from the QB, not letting that count against them. It's so hard because that's where a lot of our problems have come with Trevor Lawrence and Russell Wilson and a couple other quarterbacks in this league. It kind of made it where you're not like a top 7 or 8 QB. It's a big difference,
Ehlinger got sacked 9 times last week.
Oh my gosh, that's ridiculous, dude. Yeah,
it's just like when Matt Ryan was getting sacked a lot. Like sometimes, man, the guy would get the ball and look, and there'd be a guy on top of him already. Like their line is so bad. I don't feel like he was necessarily at fault for all of it. But
yeah, I'm hoping Jonathan Taylor goes off this week. I got him in a couple of leagues, and the truth is, if you got Jonathan Taylor, you had the first or second pick because I started taking CMC quite a bit in about August, and all my best balls if I got a first or second pick was like a CMC. So that's been pretty good. But if you had Jonathan Taylor, he's kind of been a disappointment, and this week is like, what better week to get right when the Raiders seem to be tanking? No Blake Martinez retired, Diablo's out, so their line. Perryman is questionable, game time decision. So you're going to be on like 4th, 5th, and 6th string linebackers. That would be a game that they should be able to take advantage of, you would think. But you never know. Jeff Saturday, I feel like he's going to establish the run. I feel like that's going to be kind of his mantra, so to speak. So
my guess is, I mean, they show the clip all the time of Peyton and Saturday yelling at each other on the sidelines, and Saturday wanting to run, and Peyton's like, stop calling the effing plays, like, them going at it. So I'm guessing he's going to want to run also. And that's part of why I really didn't want to go with Ehlinger. I think Ehlinger has potential to throw like less than 10 times.
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
And McCoy, I feel like if he plays, I mean, he's got D-Hop. Connor definitely catches the ball. I feel Rondell Moore is coming on, which I'm bummed I dropped him. Yeah. But I had to because of my IR people had to come off, and it blocks your line if you don't drop people. So I feel like that's my mindset is that the Rams have had a really rough year, and I think McCoy has some guys he can throw to. So because I had Wolford, I dropped him for McCoy. Just because Stafford's been so bad, I don't see why Wolford would be better. Their line is terrible. They only have one receiver who really gets the ball. I know Wolford can run a little bit, but so can McCoy. So I feel like McCoy has a better chance to get a touchdown or two and maybe do a little bit of something. I don't know.
He's been in that system a while now too, so he's familiar with it. He knows Cliff Kingsbury. They have a pretty good relationship. So,
and he's a winner.
Yeah, he's gonna find. He's come in and won some games before, so it's kind of interesting. I don't know if Kyler Murray's had a complete year in any year that he's played if he misses this game, which he seems to be trending towards unless they pull the rug out from everybody. So keep that in mind too. NFL's a lot more sneaky than they used to be. I feel like. So.
You mean like you think that Kyler won the playing today?
I hope he doesn't. There's been a lot of people across multiple of the fantasy football sevens leagues will pick him up. So it seems like he's trending out. But I don't know.
Yeah, and I know that both teams said they weren't going to make a decision about this, but I feel like it's almost like both teams are like, you know what, Stafford, Murray, like we're both we'll go with both the backups. Like I know that they both said they won't do that, but I'm sure that's a factor. Like, hey, you know what? Like he's got a hamstring injury. Like we need him down the stretch. If he tweaks it worse, he might not be able to play at all. So if Stafford's not playing, maybe we're better off letting McCoy play a game. I don't know. That's kind of what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, Hollins is very interesting. I put him in my starting lineup. I went and got him immediately once I found out Waller and Renfro were gone. Like I said, to me, it kind of feels like the Raiders they threw in the towel on the season. They're like, let's go get a good draft pick. Let's get somebody to replace Carr. It's so crazy because Devontae Adams went there for Carr, and they paid Carr all that money, but not Josh McDaniels. He wasn't part of that decision. So I kind of think that's a very interesting aspect of what could be going on.
I never understand like when teams like make a coaching hire like that and you have an established player. Like when the Vikings brought in what's his face this year. They brought him in knowing that he had a good relationship with Cousins and believed in Cousins and that they were going to kind of work together. I don't get why teams don't do that. Like you should want to bring in a guy who believes in the guys that they have there, that like their scheme is going to fit who they have. Like it makes no sense to me they bring in a coach and then basically let them like undo all the work that this team's done putting together. Because the Raiders were competitive last year. I mean, with everything that went down, Carr was like magic and they had like some good stuff. Like and McDaniels has been a terrible coach. I just didn't like the hire to begin with. He's a good coordinator, but I don't think he's a good head coach.
That's two different things. People forget that. I think Bay had to become he had Wade Phillips with him. That's what kind of helped him, allowed him to kind of give him that time to get better. But man, they just did a weird play. Tom Brady slipped, and they ran him out and nobody covered him like 3 plays earlier. So they did it again. Woolen got a pick. He leads the league in them, I think, or he's right up there with Diggs. And Seattle just maybe got some momentum because Tampa Bay was driving downfield. That was really stupid of them. Like, why would they change that up? Everything was working. They try to go with some gadget play. And that's when you overthink things. That's when I think football is just too much. There's too much mind work going on in football on every play for analytics just to be like, yeah, this is going to work. This is going to work. Baseball, I get it. You're doing the exact same rhythm over and over and over again. Football, you're not. I think it's a shame to see so many teams do it. And I think that's part of what Jim Irsay was pissed off about. He's like, man, you got to at some point have football 101. And I think that's why Jonathan Taylor, like, despite his low ankle sprain, I think they're going to be really running him, man. I think he's going to see a lot of volume. It's my big prediction. It's kind of crazy that you have to go with the first overall pick and the bold prediction being that he'll, 125 yards and a touchdown, but that's where we're at because the bookies aren't even giving that to him. So, I think his rushing line's at 69 yards or something. So I'm saying he'll go over that. I mean, the Raiders, I don't know who they're going to use to stop him. Max Crosby's good. Chandler Jones is good, but they're pass rush specialists. I don't think they really control the line and attack it. So, like I said, I think that's an interesting game. I think New Orleans at Pittsburgh is an interesting game. I have no idea who's going to win that one. To an extent, Arizona and Los Angeles is a very interesting game. I don't know what's going to happen there. And then Detroit, Chicago. I feel like that game could go either way. I feel like Denver, Tennessee could go either way. I think there's a bunch of possibilities with these games that could really go either way. And
I agree.
It kind of leaves you in fantasy football limbo land, and also in betting limbo land for the bettors that are listening to the show, because it's like you can't really go fully invested on one team if they're not going to control the time of possession. They're not going to control the ground game. Makes it very difficult for all these other things to establish unless you just count on them always having garbage time. But like I said, I think these games are going to be so close. I don't know which way to take it. And then Minnesota Buffalo, Buffalo is heavy favorites. Josh Allen is playing, but I'm not sure that I think that game's going to be a little closer than people are thinking too. I know Minnesota is just barely squeaking by, and Buffalo, has been blowing people away, but Minnesota has a better record for a reason. They play pretty well at crunch time when it's time to get going. And Kirk Cousins in the early afternoon slot. He's not playing an afternoon game. He's not playing a night game. He's playing the normal slot. He's like great in those time slots. So I think it's a very interesting kind of game slot, in my opinion.
I also think Daniel Hunter, who I really hope is a big day, coming after a guy with a UCL sprain. I think that's going to be a problem for I'm wondering if Allen gets hit a few times if they take him out. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm guessing they won't, but I feel like they're risking their season by keeping him in. I really thought they were not going to play him.
Me too. I did too. I told people last night on the show or in our Twitter space, I was like, Case Keenum, it's not like he's not prepared. He's a smart, intelligent quarterback. He knows what he's got to do. He knows his pieces. He's got great pieces around him, and a little bit of a revenge factor as well. So, but they're just not going to let it happen. I'm worried the medicine's going to wear off, and Josh Allen is not going to scramble. You know what I mean? He's going to. It's like once you're playing football, everything's so instinctive. Every play is about 6 seconds, so everything is like, okay, not open. I'm taking off running, regardless if he's hurt or not. He might remember to slide. He might remember to go down, but he doesn't normally do that. He normally goes and charges into the guy because he's 230-something pounds or 220-something pounds and 6'3" or whatever. And
that's a lot of hurdles him.
Yeah. I mean, that's a lot of man coming at you. So he's going to have to protect that elbow because falling on it, getting hit, or like even just coming forward, I think that's how it happened. Just any kind of like torque that like stops that momentum. That's a lot of pressure on the elbow. We're designed to do certain things. This is not really a natural motion. It's not like there's all like throwing rocks really. It's like where this originated or trying to get something out of a tree. Like you don't really do this too much. So it's a lot of torque on this little bitty joint. And it is going to be something to monitor going forward. I've said if he plays, I think his first half will be about normal. I think his second half, letting that elbow get stiff, medicine starts wearing off, I think it's going to be something to monitor.
And I'm a Vikings believer. I know I see so much hate on them, and everyone always hates Cousins. I personally, as you know, I've always taken Cousins. I was upset I couldn't get him this year. And not that he's been lights out this year, but I mean, I feel like he's the most underrated quarterback because so many people don't like him because they think he's overrated. But I think all that hate makes him underrated because to me, he's solid. Like, I get he hasn't won, but last year, I mean, I watched that team a lot. Their defense gave up so many late touchdowns. He's not on the field for that. Like, he would drive down for what could be a game-winning, touchdown or field goal, and his defense would kind of give up whatever they needed to give up to lose the game pretty consistently. And this year, they brought in the right coach, and their defense looks solid. Hunter's healthy, and they brought in a couple other pieces. Like, I think that's the big difference with the team, that the defense is performing, and he's doing whatever he has to win. But I mean, he's come out with some games where he's been like 16 of 16 to start the game, or like whatever it is. Like he's been doing what he needs to do. I think that they've just been doing what they need to do to win. I don't know if they're built to get blown out. Like, I don't think Buffalo can blow them out. I think they can keep up if they have to. I think they can play a lower scoring game if they have to. I just don't think they have the killer instinct to blow other teams out.
Exactly. And like I said, to their advantage is making them tough in the fourth quarter and late in games. They're like you said, they're not being blown out. And Kirk Cousins has proven time and time again that he can take you in the fourth quarter and get you a drive or get you in field goal range, whatever the circumstance may be. And I think Jordan Hicks was a great addition. Zadarius Smith was a great addition. Those guys are controlling that linebacker room. Harrison Smith is playing great. Even though he's battling injuries, he's still playing at a Pro Bowl level. So I think it's going to be pretty good. And Buffalo has a lot of defensive starters out. Jordan Poyer's out, I believe. Greg Rousseau's out. I think Terrell Edmonds didn't practice all week, but they say he's playing. So I mean, they're battling through some injuries over there. And Kirk Cousins, Justin Jefferson, Dalvin Cook, Adam Thielen, T.J. Hawkinson. Somebody's going to be making plays. That's just the bottom line. That's why they're not ever out of games. So I agree with you 100%, man. Let's see what else we got to talk about here. I do have some IDP players I'd like to bring up real quick. I think could have a good game. Highsmith for Pittsburgh. I think all the attention is on T.J. Watt, rightfully so. But Highsmith is doing pretty great. 31 tackles, 7 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. Andy Dalton has proven that he'll turn the ball over one way or another. So keep an eye on that. Leonard Williams from New York Giants. If they try to run with Pierce especially, he could have a very good tackle game. We talked about Nwosu. He hasn't got to Tom Brady yet, but he has been applying pressure. Jordan Brooks is in this game. I think he's going to have over 10 tackles. Let's keep an eye on that. Rashaan Evans went off. He got like 12 tackles on the Thursday night game. So we got Holland tonight in Miami versus Cleveland. I think Miami could be putting up the points, and Brissett's going to have to start airing it out. And Holland has 50 tackles already on the year, 2 interceptions, 2 sacks, and 1 forced fumble. So he's filling up the stat sheet. He's having an all-pro kind of year. I already kind of mentioned it. Harrison Smith. And if Josh Allen kind of can't like stay on top of the ball or he kind of airs it up, it'll be going right to Harrison Smith the whole time. And that'll be Josh Allen, like I said, banged up. And this will be a great game for him to just play his Hall of Fame kind of career. It's going to be the marquee game, early in the morning on Fox. So keep an eye on that. And then Julian Love, kind of not known too well. He's having an excellent year. And McKinney, if y'all are unfamiliar with the Giants defense, McKinney, I think he went out in the Baja or something like that and was riding four-wheelers and had an accident. So he's an injury. He's on the IR. So Love is going to be asked to shoulder even more responsibility in that weak Martindale defense, the former Raven defense. So expects him to have a good high volume. And if Pierce is getting back there, if he's getting past the first level, Love is going to be the guy to scoop it up, him and take Crowder. So I think those are some pretty good IDP plays. Do you have anything you'd like to say from an IDP standpoint, Brett?
I really hope Jordan Brooks gets more than 10 tackles.
Well, Seattle's controlling the ball right now in this third quarter. So it's kept Levante David just got a tackle right there. So you need those linebackers. Those are stud linebackers. They got to step it up for you for sure.
And Neal too. And Demario Davis has had a huge year. Like quietly, the guy, if you look at his numbers this year, he's been getting sacks. He's been getting a lot of tackles. He's been getting he gets double-digit points every week easy. And he's not young. He still has some game left, which is crazy.
Yep.
Trying to think who. I'm really hopeful Chin comes back soon. I love watching him play. He's such a good player, and he's been out pretty much the whole year. They keep saying he'll come back next week, and he just keeps not coming back. And then trying to think, Kirksey, if who are they playing? Oh, the Giants. Right?
You should see a lot of Barkley. You should see a lot of.
Yeah. So I think that he should get a lot of tackles. My IDPs have basically been the only thing that have saved me all year. Them and Henry. My IDPs pretty much usually all get me 10 plus points every game, and I usually get a few with 20 plus. So that's pretty much the only reason I've stayed afloat this year.
Well, man, hey, I know you're a great champion, and I'm 3-6, so you got a better record than me right now. But I'm not giving up. I'm still only 2 games out of the playoffs. Tiebreakers, for fantasy football sevens and listening, guys, it's of course your overall record, then your head-to-head record, then your division record, then your conference record, then your points. So make sure you win those division games. I got the tiebreaker on him right now, even though I'm 2 games out with 5 to go. It's you got plenty of chances with those tiebreakers and 3 division games coming back. Brett won in this exact same format, but different in the Bay. We had 10 years ago, still the reigning champion in that. I think we're going to fire that up again next year, man. Get some fresh blood in there, maybe change it up a little bit. Like I said, going to the expo, I was wearing the shirt today. It changed my life. Met a lot of those people that run trophies and run stuff, so I kind of got the inside scoop on stuff. And bring it back, dude. It's because it's a good fun league. 16 straight up. Like I said, FF7s, you're playing against 16, but if you make it to the final round, you're still playing all the finalists, so 12 people. That's why I call it a tournament. The top 12, just because you make it to your championship, that doesn't mean you're even guaranteed a top 10 finish. So I think that's kind of an interesting aspect, man. I wish you well, man. And anything else you'd like to say before you get out of here, just in general?
The last thing I'll say is that you run amazing leagues. Definitely the best commissioner I've ever gotten to experience. Last year, I think I was 1-5 or 2-5. So I definitely was 4-5 at one point to be able to win it all. I think I won out until the last game, which I didn't really need to win, and then swept through the playoffs. So last 2 years, I've definitely had some injury issues, and I've started slow pretty much every year I've been in your leagues, and I've come on strong in the second half of the year every year. So hoping that I'm able to kind of put a push together, whether I win this week or not. Maybe Russell will all of a sudden be a good quarterback.
I need him, dude. I need him for sure. So, yeah, keep it on there. You're only 1 game out right now. It's a pretty tough division. Nobody has 6 wins, I don't think, in there. So it's all bang them up, So keep that going. And that's for everybody out there. Don't give hope, don't lose hope if even if you're not in fantasy football sevens, man, there's still 4 or 5 good weeks left, and you gotta power through. You heard Brett about making all those moves. You heard me making all the moves I've made. I picked up Woods. I picked up Hollins. I picked up the New York Giants, like you were thinking about doing, Brett. So you got to make moves. You can't be scared to. You can't be just sitting on your roster and get mediocre results. You got to kind of make those pushes. So thank you, Brett, for joining, man. You are one of the most competitive people I know. Great hockey player, competitive runner, and I'm competitive too, just in the other aspects of the fields I choose. So I hope you have a great winter. I don't know. When's your next race? You said you were training for one, or no?
So I've been having some injury issues, so I've been just focused on CrossFit, and I haven't been able to run much. I'm actually going to a doctor on Wednesday for some ankle, foot, calf issues.
Sorry.
That's all right. That's part of the deal. So hopefully get that sorted out soon. But yeah, man, you're an amazing commissioner. You like good friend. Like you're a good dude, man.
Absolutely, Brett. Likewise, I appreciate you. I've been working out, been reaching my goal. I'm about 185, 5 more pounds. Been dieting. I was running and biking. It's getting colder where we live, so I slack off once that happens. And my knee starts feeling it a lot more too. So, but we can't give up. It's just the same thing as fantasy football. Just do what you can. Do a little bit every day out there, people. You'd be surprised what even 40 push-ups would do to your body if you do it consistently. So, everybody, take care. Take care out there. Good luck in your team, Brett. Good luck in the game of the week, man. Like I said, we got one every week. Come join us next year. If you want to check me out, all my information's right there. I'm on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. I'll respond to any questions on there. I'm a patron. I got free articles. If you want to pay a little bit more, I got paid articles for betting and so forth. And let's just go out there and conquer today, guys. Tell somebody you love them, you appreciate them. Let's have a great day. Have a good one.
Biggie.
You too, man. We got our little outro, and then I'll be out of here.